Your course is out of date. Your online course is out of date. I know you're probably thinking, hey, I'm an expert, I'm a solopreneur, I'm someone who knows how to do something. I should really create a course. I want to have some smart passive income. I want to be able to share what it is that I know and do. You may already have a course. You've been playing around with all these AI tools and you're figured out how to use some of them and you're going, I'm going to create a course. Well, I'm telling you right now that your course is probably out of date, and more importantly, what you need to do about it. So I'll give you an example where this came from. I was going through some of my feeds today, and if you've ever heard of a company called ServiceNow, it's a large company. It deals with corporate customers. It's more mid and large size businesses. But it was the CEO was being interviewed, and he was talking about the standard operating procedures and the trainings that they do for not only themselves, but for all of the companies that they deal with. And he came across and he said a couple things that were kind of interesting. The first one was, he said, every workflow for every company will be re-engineered by AI and ChatGPT within the next 12 to 24 months. It's a tsunami of change. Now, let me tell you why that's important. So if you're thinking about this and you're going, okay, I'm going to create a course. I do have some expertise. I have a particular skill I want to teach, or more importantly, I have an outcome that I can promise if people just follow what it is that I know. So you've got that, and you've probably been sold a bill of goods that says, hey, all you need to do is create an online course. And if you have an online course, you're going to be able to earn some money. It's a passive income. It's just create a course and that's it. And you're probably thinking, okay, I'm doing my business, but if I just add a course, it's just another piece of income for me. Technically, you're in the education business. You're not in the course business. You're in the education business. And I'm saying that if you're relying on courses, or you think a course is going to build your business, you're absolutely out of luck. And in fact, I think courses are extinct. So let me go into that and why it's kind of important to, kind of think about that. And how do we make some changes that actually help that? So here's the first kind of thing that you need to think about. And if you're playing around with this, you're probably going, okay, great. How does all this fit into my business? And why is the course that you're telling me is out of date? So here's a couple reasons why. In the last year, with all of this stuff with AI and ChatGPT, there is an absolute overflow, like he says, a tsunami of information that is coming. And more information is coming into the course businesses and the teaching businesses, and this whole idea of sharing what it is we already know and do. It's just getting a lot easier. And in fact, the time that it takes to create it is actually being as condensed as it is that the time that it actually changes. And if you think about it right now, you can repurpose all sorts of stuff using ChatGPT. You can take one type of content in a particular modal like voice, change it to text. You can take text, change it to images. You can take images, turning it into videos. So your ability, or someone's ability, to create these courses is dramatically changed. And in fact, when we used to make courses, if you remember earlier, you needed third parties to do it, right? You had this stuff where you maybe filmed yourself and then you had to send it to an editor, a third party, pay some money, wait for that to happen. All of those steps are being removed or reduced dramatically by all of the AI tools that are showing up. So we have that stuff there. And if we know that whether it's an outcome course or it's a skill course, you have to ask yourself, am I still going to be performing that skill the same way in 6 months, 12 months, or 24 months? And more importantly, if everything is changing, and like he said, every workflow in every company will be re-engineered and change by AI and ChatGPT. So it's going to happen in 12 to 24 months. So if you're promising an outcome, whatever outcome that is, the way that it gets done, or the actual process that you're teaching to someone, I guarantee you it's not going to be the same in those 12 to 24 months as it was when you originally did the course. And a lot of people are still hung up on being perfectionists. When you're creating online courses, you're not going to have time to be a perfectionist. So this is one of the things you have to think about. how long does it take to create the course? How fast can I do it? How can I keep up with the information? And the traditional long form teaching, even if you're doing it live, an example, and you're doing an in-house kind of training, it just takes a long time to actually deliver that content. And if it's a bunch of content that has pieces that are changing, how are you going to keep up with it? It's very, very difficult. So that's kind of the first part. The second part that you're kind of getting fibbed on or kind of played around with there is that you have to stop selling courses. And the reason you have to stop selling courses is because the courses come out so quickly. If I go and take a look today at the number of courses, for example, that are on a particular topic that have been launched, whether it be on the large, like Udemy or some of the large directories of courses, there's hundreds of courses coming out today. So if you think you can sell a course, or if you think you can sell some courses, it is absolutely not impossible, but it is hard work and it is not passive by any means. And if you have an existing clientele, you might be able to do that. It's a lot easier. If you don't have a whole bunch of customers already, it's very difficult to get in front of people because there's so much going on. So if you think, oh great, passive income, all I need to do is create a course, it's not going to happen. It's hard to sell courses now. It's going to get harder to sell courses, and those courses are going to be really difficult to sell. I think in anywhere from 6, 12, 24 months, they're going to be darn close to impossible to sell courses. And in fact, you'll see a lot of people giving them away. So what you should be doing at that time, you're going to have to move to selling programs. And a program is, think of it as a bunch of micro courses or mini courses that fit together. Now, the reason you want to do this is because that program or that featured outcome that you're promising now is flexible because it has multiple courses or pieces in it. So you're not selling a course, you're selling a perpetually changing program. And there's kind of a thing, if you want to think about this, it's like a skills gap. And that's the part that's really changing. That's a third point. That skills gap is you've got all this stuff that's changing, the information changing. And what happens is if you try and sell a course or teach a course, there's going to be pieces of that course, and they could be small chunks or bigger ones, but they're going to be gaps in what's current now. And you're going to have a number of these gaps that you're going to be able to identify. And you can't just create a complete course for it. What you need to do is be able to create just pieces of your program that allows the outcome that you're promising in that program by just filling in the gaps or making that small little change. And training and teaching online is about identifying the gaps that are in your program and filling them to get the outcomes that you're promising. So it's not about selling courses anymore. It's about providing a program that guides people to that outcome. And that's kind of the other piece that I want you to think about. So the gap is there. How do we be flexible? Here's the thing that's going to be huge. Stop selling courses, sell programs. And what's different about a program? A program uses blended continual learning. And what that means to you is you're not going to be in a position where you can go, oh, I'm going to sell a course, pay me some money, here's your course. Because what's happened is everyone has those gaps because they have unique experiences. So you have to be in a position where you can identify someone's unique experience and help them apply your knowledge, your skills, your process, your program to that particular situation that they're in. You can't do a course now that fits everyone's situation. It's impossible, and it's even going to get worse. It's going to get harder and harder to actually do that just because there are so many variations showing up with the number of people doing courses, offering different programs. It's going to get really, really difficult. In fact, it's going to get close to impossible. And the support that is required to do that is about blended learning. Now, I've got some other courses that we can talk about blended learning and cohorts and stuff, but just understand it's not a course. It's not a video. It's not e-learning. It's a program you're putting together that has blended learning and support over time so that your experience can be applied to the situation that that person's in. And that's the other thing I want to talk about. You're a solopreneur, you're someone who has a set expertise or something that you've experienced. You have gone through a process, you applied it on a regular basis, and you have an outcome that you can promise. you're in an absolute bonus situation if you're a little bit older. If you have more experience, you can identify those gaps or those skills gaps or those outcome gaps far quicker than someone who hasn't had the experience. So if you're in a position where you've had some you've been a couple times around the track, that means that you've seen more and you can share more. So don't be afraid that, hey, I've got all this technology stuff that I'm confused by or I'm sure of, and all these young people are coming out and they're doing all this fancy stuff. Don't get hung up on that. Think about what is it that I have as experience and use that experience to really make yourself stand out and have a program that allows you to fill that skills gap by having you involved more so than just here's a video, here's a text, here's a download. It's absolutely not enough. So you got these 4 things to think about. You got your courses out of date. Okay. You can't sell courses anymore. You got to sell programs. Then you're going, there's a lot of huge skill gaps because not everyone is the same, and you can't just sell something that's static. There's ongoing continual learning that's happening, and you've got lots of skills because you've been around. So don't be afraid to share what it is that you want and your opinion on things, because you've had enough time to have some opinion. So here's the other thing I just want to kind of touch on here, and this one's important, is what does all of this do? What do you do if you want to build a business? What do you do if you still want to earn money in an education business? Well, there's a couple things that you're going to do. So let's take a quick look at those. And I'm going to just move them over quickly here. The thing is, I mentioned before, blended learning. You are going to have to get into blended learning. And blended learning is when you have online educational materials, videos, audios, text, downloads, that kind of thing, but you intertwine them with interaction online. So you can be doing Zoom calls, you can be doing cohorts or groups of people in presentations. It can be one-on-one traditional coaching that supplements all of that blended type of learning with the 2 modals, whether it be in-person, interactive, or static, and doing things like gamification and all of the other pieces that get people involved. The other thing is programs versus courses. Just think about, if you are going to do courses, change the word that what you traditionally used as a course and think more about micro tutorials and mini tutorials and turning that into a program with blended learning. So the difference between a program and a course is really a guided or blended learning path. A course is usually, people think of a course as how to do something. It's a skill, right? But if you have those skills together as part of a process, that's a program because you can guide people through those. And at the end of it, you're not only going to have something for them in a particular skill, if that's all that they need, but you've got a path for them to apply it to the situation that they want and the ability to get the outcome that they want. So programs, courses, blended learning. The other thing is it's going to be community learning. And this has to do with the skills gap again. It's not about you just as the teacher, because there's lots to learn from other people that are going through the program and the process with you. So if you're in a situation where you can build a community and you have a platform for that, you have support and engagement within the other people and your content or your program. So it's not about selling courses anymore. It's about building a community that has blended learning. And when you look at that, it's collaboration, problem solving, additional resources being brought in by other people, sharing their case studies and experiences. All of that stuff is great. It's all sorts of ideas that you don't have necessarily as the teacher or the instructor, but if you can bring it into the community and let people apply what other people have learned in addition to yours, there's huge benefits to that. And I'm going to tell one of the differences here. The other thing that's about this whole community learning from a business perspective is if you are thinking about having an education business, the decision that you have to make at some point is, am I going to have my own training site, my own campus, or am I going to host it and have it my own. Like one of the things that we do, we set up training sites based on WordPress, where you own the data, you own the campus. The other choice you're going to have to make, now there's no right or wrong, but you're going to have to make it as a business decision and say, I'm all in on this campus, the community, the membership site, the blended learning, the courses. Do I want it on someone else's platform, and do I want to rent space from them and use the features and benefits that they provide? Or do I want a little more flexible one where I own the data and I own the information and the community? And the real value for all of this at the end of the day is, in fact, are you going to be in the education business, not selling courses? Because any course that you create today isn't going to be worth income unless it's packaged around all these other things, I think, in 6 to 12 months. And this is going to get incredibly exciting because it is happening quickly and it is going to change. You know, one of the things that I just read at the end of it, that quote that he was talking about, he said that only the smart ones that recognize and put a stake in the sand today that all of this changing are the ones that are going to make it. And whether or not this is true, the train's already left the station. There's no end to this. It's going to be changing all of the time. So you're going to have to share these experiences and share this growth and think about it. How am I going to apply this to my business, not just selling courses? Now, if you don't believe me, that's fine. Put the comments below and I'll do my best. We can have a chat about it. If you do want to find out more about this and play around with it on yourself, your own, make sure to join teachonline.io, where we play around with all of these ideas. If you just want this all done for you and done with you, go to trainingsites.io and we'll do our best to help you out. That's where we do it for you there. All sorts of stuff we can do in terms of marketing your campus, creating your programs. That's the stuff we do for you there. So I hope you enjoyed this. Just something to think about. I'm going to do lots more on this. Make sure to check the videos at the end here. Put your comments below, like and subscribe, and I'll do my best to really help you out and make sure that this is something that if you want to share something and earn money and build a business, we're here to help. So this is James Madu speaking. Take care. Expect the best. We'll see you tomorrow or another day with another great video.